My parents forced me to participate in their blog, creating an ideal picture, and I decide to leave them. When I was just about 7 years old, my parents decided to move into a trailer park to travel around the United States. My father works online, and my mother is a blogger. She's not exactly super popular, but she's famous enough that we get recognized occasionally. So, the camera has been pointed at me for as long as I can remember. For my own privacy, I won't go into details, and I'm writing from a fake account. I've already gotten more than my share of attention, and I'm tired of it. I sleep on a tiny bunk bed that I outgrew years ago, and the second bunk is the only place I can store my things. I don't even have a room, just a curtain. And thank goodness I'm an only child. Otherwise, I'd have to share what little space I have. I was homeschooled almost exclusively, and in high school, I insisted on online school. I'm 18 years old, and I don't have a single real-life friend because I've never stayed anywhere for more than a month. And I don't have a single friend in real life because I've never stayed anywhere for more than a month. I don't have a job either, nor any way to find one, since we don't live in the same place. Maybe I could find a part-time job online, but that still wouldn't help me move out and get rid of my parents. I've talked to them countless times about our way of life, but they're so delusional that they genuinely believe nomadic life is the best way to exist. And why would I want anything else? I hate them for treating me not like a child, but like some kind of pet they can just drag around at their whims. I hate traveling. I can't stand the heat. I can't stand insects, and I'm sick and tired of hiking. I can't wait for the day when I can finally escape them, their morning hikes and cameras in my face. Yes, I've traveled all over the country, but damn, don't I have the right to want a normal life? Go to college? Maybe make friends? I guess I'm asking too much.
I can't even imagine how lonely you are. Do you have any other relatives you could stay with?
Unfortunately, as far as I know, no. My current plan is to try to find some way to earn money online and save up enough to rent an apartment. I'm also talking to someone online I've known for a while about maybe becoming roommates and splitting the costs.
Going to college might be the easiest way out of this, though not the cheapest. But in any case, for many reasons, it's a good step forward.
I'm definitely thinking about it, but I'm worried because homeschooling left me seriously behind in my studies, and I had a really hard time in high school. I'm just glad I was able to complete online school at all rather than continue homeschooling.
It's ironic, but if you started making content about escaping your hipster parents, you'd probably get a ton of attention.
Honestly, I've thought about it, purely to draw attention to the issue. But I've come to the conclusion that it's not the smartest solution for several reasons. First, it wouldn't seem like a long-term option. It's unlikely that such content would hold much interest for long. I tell a story, and that's it. There's nothing more to say except repeat myself. Second, I'd need to be in a stable situation to feel safe sharing everything and have the ability to back off if things go wrong. But my life has been on display online since childhood, and I don't think it's worth sacrificing the only part of my life that hasn't yet become public knowledge. So many people wrote to me, sharing advice, helpful resources, and some even offering personal assistance, though some of them were questionable, I admit. But mostly, everyone was genuinely concerned and wanted to help, and I truly appreciate that. Honestly, it all overwhelmed me a bit, so I didn't respond to many of them, and I apologize for that. But even when I didn't respond, I studied everything they sent me. I was especially drawn to questions like, "Do you have any relatives you could stay with?" To which I'd reply, "As far as I know, no, because I have no one on my father's side, and my mother completely cut off contact with her family. I didn't even know if my mother's relatives were alive, since she never wanted to talk about them. All I had was my mother's maiden name, quite rare, and her birthplace. And as it turns out, that can be enough, if you try. I've always hated the internet a little, because I never had a choice. My life was made public without my consent. But for the first time, I'm truly grateful that it exists. I managed to find some information about my mother's family, and in particular, my grandmother's Facebook page, although it took a long time. After much hesitation about whether to write or not, how to start a conversation, and what the outcome might be, I finally sent her a message where I told her about my mother, myself, and my situation. I won't go into detail about why my grandmother and mother don't communicate. It's not my story to tell. But my grandmother was shocked to learn she had a granddaughter she hadn't even known existed, and she was especially surprised by how her daughter raised me. I learned I have an aunt and uncle. My grandmother told them about me, and now I'm in constant contact with all three. They all want to help me escape life with my parents, and fortunately, now that I'm 18, that's actually possible. Again, I don't want to give away too much detail, but I've already made arrangements to go live with my aunt. She lives in a big city on the West Coast, where there are plenty of opportunities to go to college or do something I'm passionate about. And yes, I do plan to go to college, which I'm very excited about. My uncle has kids, and my aunt lives alone and has a spare room, which she happily let me live in for as long as I'll need it. The train ticket has already been bought. My aunt paid for it herself, and I have enough money to get to the station. I'm currently in contact with my family. It still feels weird to write this, and trying to figure out whether and how to tell my parents. My mom doesn't know where her relatives live, so even if I tell them who I'm going to live with, they still won't know where I am. Someone suggested that if I decide to leave without telling them, I should leave a note or some proof that I left of my own free will. So if I decide not to talk to them directly, I'll probably leave a note or make a video explaining why I'm leaving. It's funny, right? The irony is divine. Regarding my mom's filming, I try to be very quiet around my parents and just keep quiet when the camera is on. Luckily, none of them have said anything yet. And since we're talking about my mom's content, I want to quickly point out one thing. Almost everyone who wrote genuinely wanted to help, but there were also those who tried to guess who I was. Luckily, those were quickly smashed in the comments, and they later deleted everything. A few more people wrote me private messages, also trying to guess who I was. Well, at least not publicly. Thank you. I understand the curiosity, but I posted anonymously and provided minimal personal information for a reason. As I've said before, I've had enough attention in my life, and I'm tired as hell of it. So please respect my wishes to remain anonymous. Even if you think you know who I am, please don't try to reveal it. I don't want this to become a public part of my life again. In short, I now have a clear plan for leaving and a safe place to live with my aunt. I am incredibly grateful to everyone who responded and tried to help. If someone had told me 2 weeks ago that I would not only have a chance to leave my parents, but also a connection with relatives I didn't even know existed, I simply wouldn't have believed it. I'm not planning on writing another update yet, but I wanted to reassure everyone who was worried about me. I'm fine. I sincerely thank you all.
Be careful. You don't really know your mother's family. I know this seems like a way out, but still, be careful.
Absolutely. The reason Mom doesn't talk to them is completely understandable, and it's not their fault. Besides, they showed me proof of it. But, of course, I don't know them personally yet. My train isn't today or tomorrow, so I'll continue to communicate with them until I leave. They really do seem genuinely concerned and reliable. And the aunt I'll be staying with is really nice, and we've already found several common interests. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, As I wrote, I'm planning on going to college, because now that's actually achievable. And I'm hoping to live in a dorm, so I won't be staying with my aunt for very long, just until I get everything sorted out.
You can't be sure that they are being honest with you. You should ask your mother why she stopped communicating with them. Just don't tell her that you contacted them yourself. Let her tell her side of the story.
My mother refuses to talk about her family 100% at all. This is why I've never had contact with them and didn't even know about my aunt and uncle. But I'm sure they're telling the truth, because I was shown some of them with actual evidence, official court documents.
I don't recommend making a video. Parents are just using it for content. At best, leave a short note.
To be honest, I didn't plan to film a video. I was just angry and hurt, so I was thinking about stupid things like that. It's not really the best idea, unless I decide to tell them everything in person.
Listen, can you do me a favor? No matter what city you're going to, call your local police station or sheriff's office, the non-emergency number. Ask to speak to a community outreach officer and briefly introduce yourself. Explain that you're 18, that you're leaving your parents due to a dysfunctional family situation, and that you're going to live with a relative you haven't met before. Give the officer your contact information and tell them you want someone reliable to know where you are, and ask them to do a welfare check in a couple of weeks. Also, promise to stop by or call them later to let them know you're okay. Agree on 2 harmless code words with him for future conversations. One will mean, "Something's wrong, please help me out," and the other will mean, "Everything's fine." How about that?
This is a really good idea, thank you. Some time has passed, and I'd like to perhaps reassure those who were worried. In the last update, I wrote that I'd contacted my relatives on my mother's side and that I had a place to go. Now I can proudly say I did it. I'm safe, away from my parents, and we no longer speak. My aunt is an angel, incredibly kind, and I don't even mention my grandmother and uncle. When I arrived, my aunt and grandma took me on a mini shopping spree. They bought me clothes, jewelry, furniture for my room. Yes, I have my own room now, and basically everything they thought I might need. My uncle introduced me to my cousins. He has a son and a daughter who is almost my age, and we seem to have become friends. We've already gone out together many times, just having fun. My aunt is helping me look for colleges nearby, but she constantly reminds me that I don't need to rush, that I can do everything at my own pace, and that there will always be a place for me in her house. Overall, she's a really cool person, whom I quickly came to admire and feel close to. The more time we spend together, the more we realize how much we have in common. I'm just incredibly grateful to all of them for their kindness and support. My aunt also helps me understand who I really am as a person. For the first time in my life, I decide for myself what to share about myself and to whom. I dyed and cut my hair, came up with a nickname for myself, and now I use it exclusively. My cousin helps me figure out what makeup looks good on me and introduces me to my favorite bands. She's, in her words, a cringeworthy but free-spirited K-pop fan. I now have a completely private Instagram account with 5 followers, and I plan to keep it that way. For the first time, I feel like just a normal teenager, and I've never been happier. When I look in the mirror or think about my life, I'm genuinely happy with everything. I didn't even realize how uncomfortable I was in my own skin before. I guess it was simply because I had to take care of others instead of myself. All of this is more than I could ever imagine, and sometimes I can't even fully believe it's real. But now I'm officially seeing a psychologist. So maybe I can gradually come to terms with the past and how it's affected me, and at the same time figure out who I want to be next. In fact, The psychologist advised me to write this update as a way to close one chapter and let go of everything that happened in order to start a new life. After all, I have a whole future ahead of me, and I really want to live it to the fullest. So this will be my last update here. I want to enjoy my life and future while maintaining my privacy. Many have asked me to share my story more widely, to talk about my past. But for now, I've decided not to. This is my story, and I choose whether to share it or not. For the first time in my life, I have control over who knows what about me, and I don't intend to lose that. But who knows what will happen next? I just ask everyone to respect my choice. I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who supported me and gave me advice. Just know that I'm safe. I'm truly happy. I'm making plans, thinking about the future, and who I am beyond the camera. Thank you all, and goodbye. I invite you to share your thoughts on this story in the comments. Perhaps you've noticed something similar with some bloggers. If so, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments as well. And subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more interesting stories.